So the new tank is here. Pro alloy. This is 38 litres is a stock tank. This is 48 litres. They also do a 60 litre tank, which has got like extended bits out here. There is the space for it. But interestingly, they've got a baffle plate there, which is almost the same position as the old baffle plate. But they've got one-way check valves, 2 of them. So basically you can hold all the fuel in this side without having it slosh across. So that's quite nice. Everything else is the same. I've test fitted it already. All I needed to do, so the stock wiring loom runs up the top. So basically it's sort of stuck across the back, but then it runs across the top a little bit. So I had to basically move that wiring loom to on this face side, because it comes out the chassis like here and then comes up and round, where what I've had to do is take it out the chassis and then sort of stick it on the chassis, but on the inside here, so it comes along and then goes in. Not really much of an issue, but it looks good. Unfortunately, I think they've painted it, which was probably unnecessary as anything. But nonetheless, you know, it's alley. But yeah, I had all silver all over my hands. But yeah, so that is here. That will go in. Let's look at the pump. So here we are with all the pump parts. That's all nice and clean. That came up all right. New filter to go on the bottom. The old one's there. So this is a new filter. It's some generic one that I found, but it does just fit in between there. So that shouldn't be a problem. It might nip the edges slightly, but I can always fatten it out a little bit. So that shouldn't be a problem. Pump, I'm still waiting for actually. I'm still a bit concerned about just putting the pump on that smooth flat surface. Obviously this is ribbed, so potentially it's going to come with a new pipe, and maybe I can take the pipe off this and then put the new pipe on straight from pump to this. Bit nervous about that because you have to heat these pipes up a little bit to pop them on, and it depends on this diameter versus the diameter of the pipe that I've got. And these pumps normally have like I think it's like 8mm, where that looks way bigger than 8mm. So I mean, it survived before, survived many years before, so hopefully I can just pop it back on there. A couple of Jubilee clips and a bit of hose. That hose actually is surprisingly good condition. I won't reuse it probably, but it's very hard to find pipe that you can leave submersed in fuel, and even if they say they do, 99% of the time you can't. It becomes soft and like just awful and falls apart. So that's why they normally run this plastic pipe. This actually all cleaned up. I even put this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and it actually freed it all up lovely. So yeah, pretty pleased. I think that's all just going to work now. Fingers crossed. I should have pointed this out, but if you haven't already noticed, it's a Honda B series. And everybody's like, oh, why don't you put a K series in it, Ian? It's so much better. That's a matter of opinion. And also because I did this in 2008, and in fact, the original engine that I built for this was built in 2006, if not, yeah, 2006-ish. It was an NA like race engine I was building for my CRX, so I already had it. And then I was like, do you know what? I bought a Lotus Elise, and then a couple of years later, I was like, I want to put this race engine that I've been building into this car, and voila, there you go. That's why. So injector-wise, they are 444s out of the Nissan Skyline, because I used to specialise in Skylines and Nissans, so they're 444s. It's a stock B series wiring loom, basically slightly modified to go into, you know, there's only a couple of power outputs, and maybe a ground or so. Yeah, other than that, it's a T28 RS Turbo. Obviously I custom made a manifold downpipe, which is probably going to need modification. It's got an oil cooler system in it because the engine's in the back, so it does get rather hot. In fact, when it was a B16 NA engine, the oil temperature ended up getting to about 120 degrees. And this was, again, back in 2008-9. And we suffered a bearing issue, just simply because, obviously, the oils back then weren't as good as they are today. So, yeah, unfortunately, it gets hot. We've got the side scoops, so hopefully they will help. Or they always have helped since. Obviously, I added those after. But yeah, there's a fuel lab, fuel pressure regulator. There's a sort of a boost controller inside the car. You can just see the boost controller down there, not that it'll focus. So we've got a boost controller inside. We have got a, what's that, Greddy Profect B Spec 2. Hopefully we'll be doing away with that now. I've also decided to go for the KV8 ECU because I'm going to run it on that as well, so I can just swap it between the two. I can't drive both cars, although the plugs aren't really supposed to be off, on. They won't really be realistically. It'll be sat in this car until the PS is ready. And at that point, I might decide, well, okay, I'll buy another KV8 if I need to. Like I say, I can't drive both cars at the same time. So that's about it, really. We've got upgraded front discs. I've got the 2500 DS 2500s in the front. They're pretty shit, if I'm honest. Ran AR1s on it. Obviously, these are dead now. But just to get it running, I'm just going to basically leave the tyres on it, get it MOT'd, get it insured, because I want to be able to drive it to the track days if I want to, let's say, make it fully road legal. And my insurance covers me for 5 track days a year, fully insured. So that is why I want to get it on the road. They're also low impedance injectors, which means I need to run a resistor box. When I change this loom completely, so I'll make a custom loom at some point for this, but for now I just want to get it running, so I'm just going to cut the plugs. But when I do make a custom loom, I'll swap out these injectors, probably sell these back to someone with a Skyline. I've got a few spares somewhere else as well. So, must be about a week later now. Got the pump in the end, ordered it from Tegua, said it was going to be 3 days, week later, still not arrived. Called them, going to be 3 days, so cool. Cancelled that order. Glencoe, if you want to get pumps, honestly, this is the place. Cheaper than my trade discount, and their retail price. That is cheaper than my trade discount at Tegua. Cheaper pump, same pump. Obviously, they're a proper Walbro TI supplier. Obviously, all genuine. Got the filter as well. Next day delivery. Perfect. You obviously get the wire and stuff, but I'm not going to use any of this. I just wanted this in the kit just in case. I'm actually going to reuse this bit of hose. I took it off the old pump. It's actually flexible and looks perfectly fine. So I'm actually going to reuse that. If it bites me in the arse, then it bites me in the arse. But yeah, new pump. So woohoo! Let's get it built up. Right, there it is, all built up. I've reused that hose, as I say. Everything else is exactly the same because it's all straight direct fit. It's the same pump. Well, it's actually a slightly different pump. It's got slightly different connector height, but it is the same pump. So this is just a slightly old one. Obviously, this is years old. You can see if you kind of line them up, that's how far the pump is from the bottom. It's because it's got that spring filter in it. It just keeps popping it up, and I can't push it down enough to locate that into there because that's not how the stock setup was. So yeah, basically it doesn't fit properly, and we're a little bit of a high spongy area, but I'm thinking that's going to work. New filter in the bottom, which keeps rotating, which is annoying, but obviously that's because the pump doesn't lay flat. Again, they don't make this stuff, so this was a filter that looked about right, and I've managed to get it to fit on there. It doesn't collapse up either, so it's not a problem. There's metal inside, so you can't collapse and completely stop the fuel going in. So yeah, I think she's ready to go in the tank, and that's that part done. I'm actually I'm probably going to test the pump actually and just make sure all the wiring to it works. I'll just flick it on. I don't want to run it obviously for any period of time because you can kill the pumps, but yeah, all done. So I will test the pump as soon as I've got the new ECU sorted. So I'm in here, basically I'm trying to pin out and check every connector here. This is a really good screen actually because I can't see what you're seeing, so I don't know how this is picking that up, but my screen looks perfectly clear. So I've got the OBD2A pinout, which is what this wiring loom was for, and basically I'm just running through each of the pinouts. Some of this stuff's not in correctly, but there's a couple of different variations of US to UK and stuff like that, and this is a mismatch. So I'm just basically going through, checking what wires are there, and then yeah, basically pinning it out so I know where to go on the KV8 when it turns up. Well, talk of the devil, it's turned up. So literally the same day turned up, so I'm still doing it. But yeah, KV8 is here. Got the plugs, pins, basically just trying to convert between the two, and we're good to go. Right, so I finally got through the loom, which didn't take too long to be fair. So I can show you without all the... It's such a weird... Display's fine in front of my eyes. See the alarm going on. Right, so we got injectors. Oh, didn't like that. So all these ones by the X next to them is going to be used. We've got 4 injectors. We've got the VTC, or sorry, VTEC, some grounds, 12 volt switched. Literally hardly any wires, man. This is a dizzy signal, so basically just tells it when to fire. So this distributor fires 4 times every time. So basically, if it wasn't a rotor inside the housing, over here, if it wasn't a rotor in there, it'd just fire all spark plugs at exactly the same time, but it's the rotor phasing that actually decides the ignition system, or spark plugs. Cut the power grounds, power switched, and then it's the constant power, 12 volt feeds, like a backup. Literally. Oh, I haven't marked which ones of these I'll be using. So we're going to use the 24 trigger, and then the single tooth trigger to tell it when number one is. Start a signal switch, I doubt we'll use that. Service check, no, definitely not. Voltage backup, constant power, there's another one there. That's the, because they're VRs, you've got positive and negative, or up and down, whatever. Yeah, same thing, so we won't be using the 4 tooth at all. Alternating signal we probably won't be using. Speed sensor we're not going to use. Speed sensor comes off the actual vehicle. Not that it will be going into this ECU, and this certainly not originally, or on this edition. It's literally got no sensors. It's got TPS, engine coolant, map sensor. The map sensor comes out of one 5 volt output, literally just for the map sensor. Brake switch won't be using. Knock sensor, obviously rubbish on this. Single wire. Auto heater won't be using. Intake air temperature sensor. Yep, and so that's all the sensors basically. And then you've got the 5 volts to the TPS, just the TPS on its own. And 5 volts to the map sensor, because they're the only 3 pin sensors or 3 wire sensors on here. The other 2 are obviously temperature sensors. And then yeah, the sensor grounds, literally just one has map and one has TPS, coolant and intake air. And that is literally it. Can't wait. Obviously I'm going to do an additional loom eventually. I just want to get it running to start with, but additional loom that will have other stuff. I'll be changing the map sensor for sure, because obviously that map sensor's only like a 2-bar map sensor, so I'll only go to I think 11 psi or something like that, so that will be going in the bin. But I'm going to use it to start with. I could just depin it, take it out. Intake air temp, I'll be getting rid of that as well, most likely, because it's shrouded and it's way over here. I can put one, so I'm going to put yeah, map and TPS. Sorry, map and intake air temperature, probably in one sensor, just here. Just weld a boss on, job done. Yeah, it should be all right. And then ideally, I'd like one this side, so I could get throttle mass flow, but we'll see about that. I would like a wideband on it. So yeah, there's going to be an additional loom, and then I don't know, it might be worth just actually running this loom with some protections, basic protections. I'll have to see if I've got oil pressure. See, I know I've got one oil pressure there, but I might have one somewhere else. I don't think I have actually, because I don't think that's got any takeoffs on it. So this might be the only one, and obviously this goes to the dash for low oil pressure, and that is it. And I don't have a readout on the dash, although I could put in like a 2000 RPM limit if it was out of specification. So potentially I could buy this into the M-Tron. That might just be for the turbo. Yeah, so that's just to feed the turbo. So it's not actually a proper sensor in the block. But either way, I mean, it's in the system. yeah, boost control. Ideally, I'd like to control with the M-Tron as well instead of my Greddy Proof Expected B thingy. So I just sort of plug this in and make sure this works. This spins up on ignition on and just runs flat out, it seems. I didn't want to leave it running more than sort of 5 seconds because, again, it's got no fuel in it. So I don't know what turns on the fuel pump. I assume it's just ignition. I don't know if it's going to run for 5 seconds and then the ECU takes over, because there's no ECU in it and yet it run. So it's not controlled fully by the ECU. It might just be a ignition on timer and then, fuck knows. So yeah, I'm not sure. Can't remember any of the wiring that was done on this, if I'm honest. Most of it is stock, like this is stock wiring, so I don't know where this controller goes, but obviously if it goes to the ECU, then I'm definitely not going to remember. So there you are. So we're going to pop the tank back in. That's all done now. Happy days. Get some fuel in it, pump it through the system, just make sure everything's good. I mean, it's literally just a few lines to clean out. All right, so tank's in. I've actually taken it back out, tried to shift it around to see if there's any possible way to move it, because I don't know if you're going to see this. Let me see if I can get down there, show you. The clearance between the back of that and that shield, or the heat shielding, is basically zero. Was same with the other pipe as well down there. I'm about to try some grease on it, on the actual heat shielding, plus on the pipe, see if I can get it in there, but God, I wish that had come out a bit better. It is ridiculous, but there's plenty of side space this side, like plenty. So yeah, I'm thinking that the jigs might be slightly off, because what a nightmare that is. Now, Pro Alloy made my charge cooler as well, charge cooler radiator, and that was pucker, perfect. But this isn't fun.